Falling in love takes 1/5 of a second and activates the same brain regions as cocaine. Love literally floods your brain with dopamine, oxytocin, and adrenaline within 200 milliseconds of seeing someone you're attracted to. The caudate nucleus and ventral tegmental area light up identically to drug addiction. Love is chemistry before it's choice. This explains why new love feels like an uncontrollable high and why heartbreak feels like withdrawal. Your brain isn't being metaphorical. It's experiencing actual neurochemical addiction to another person's presence. Couples who are too similar or too different both struggle. The sweet spot is shared values with different interests. Relationship success requires approximately 70% similarity in core values, but complementary differences in hobbies and perspectives. Too much similarity creates boredom. Too much difference creates conflict. Balance is biological imperative. This explains why opposites attract works initially but struggles long term, and why dating your clone feels safe but unstimulating. You need someone who shares your direction but walks a slightly different path. It takes 4 positive interactions to overcome 1 negative interaction in relationships. The Gottman ratio shows stable relationships maintain 5-to-1 positive to negative interactions. Below this ratio, relationships deteriorate. 1 criticism requires 5 compliments to neutralize. Negativity is weighted heavier than positivity. This explains why small acts of kindness matter more than grand gestures, and why 1 fight can overshadow weeks of harmony. Your relationship bank account loses money faster than it gains it. People fall in love with someone who resembles their opposite sex parent in personality traits. Unconscious mate selection gravitates toward personality characteristics of the opposite sex parent, even when those traits caused childhood difficulty. You're attracted to familiar patterns, not necessarily healthy ones. Early attachment becomes adult attraction template. This explains why you keep dating the same type despite different faces, and why relationship patterns repeat across partners you're not choosing consciously. Your childhood is choosing for you. Holding hands with someone you love reduces physical pain and stress hormones. Physical touch from romantic partners decreases pain perception by 40% and lowers cortisol levels immediately. Your nervous system calms when connected to someone you trust. Touch is analgesic and anxiolytic. This explains why you reach for your partner when scared or hurt, and why long-distance relationships feel physically painful. Your body needs their body to regulate your own nervous system. Couples who laugh together have relationships that last 9 times longer. Shared laughter releases endorphins, creates synchronized brain activity, and signals safety to both nervous systems. Humor becomes relationship glue. Couples who can find comedy in conflict outlast those who can't. This explains why funny partners are attractive long-term, and why losing the ability to laugh together predicts breakup. Laughter isn't just joy. It's a survival mechanism for weathering hard times together. The way someone treats service workers predicts how they'll treat you long-term. Behavior toward waiters, cashiers, and customer service reveals character when the performance pressure is off. Kindness to those who can't benefit them shows authentic character. Treatment of lesser others predicts treatment of you once novelty wears off. This explains why the waiter rule matters in dating, and why you should watch how dates treat strangers. Public kindness might be performance. Private kindness to randoms is character. Eye contact for 7 to 10 seconds creates feelings of love and connection. Sustained eye contact triggers oxytocin release and increases attraction even between strangers. The eyes create intimacy through mutual vulnerability. Looking away breaks connection. Sustained gaze builds it. This explains why eye contact feels intense early in relationships and why avoiding eye contact during conflict escalates disconnection. The gaze is gateway to the heart through neurochemistry. Women fall in love through their ears. Men fall in love through their eyes. Women's attraction increases through conversation, emotional disclosure, and verbal connection. Men's attraction initiates through visual stimuli. Different sensory pathways activate romantic interest based on gender. This explains why women want to talk and men want to look, why men want photos and women want phone calls. Neither is wrong. They're using different biological systems to build the same feeling. Couples who travel together report 30% higher relationship satisfaction. Shared novel experiences increase dopamine and create shared memories that strengthen bonds. Travel removes routine, forcing teamwork and creating stories that become relationship identity. New places create new connections. This explains why vacation relationships feel intense and why couples who adventure together stay together longer. Novelty doesn't threaten bonds. It strengthens them through shared challenge and discovery. The first year of marriage is often harder than the year before marriage. Transitioning from dating to marriage involves renegotiating expectations, boundaries, and identities. The legal commitment exposes previously hidden conflict patterns. Marriage doesn't fix problems. It illuminates them under pressure. This explains why newlywed year sees high counseling rates and why some couples struggle after wedding bliss. The party ended, the work began, commitment reveals what dating concealed. People stay in relationships primarily due to investment, not just satisfaction. Investment model shows commitment depends on satisfaction plus investment minus alternatives. You stay because you've invested years, shared finances, mutual friends, not just because you're happy. Sunken costs keep relationships alive. This explains why people stay in mediocre relationships and why high investment predicts relationship duration better than high satisfaction. You're trapped by what you've built together, not just by love. Physical touch needs vary dramatically. Incompatible touch languages predict conflict. Some people need constant physical contact for security. Others need space and find touch overwhelming. Mismatched touch needs create perceived rejection and smothering. Neither is wrong. They're just incompatible. This explains why one partner feels unloved while the other feels suffocated, and why touch frequency is crucial compatibility factor. Your need for space is their experience of abandonment. Couples who maintain separate identities within relationship report higher satisfaction. Healthy interdependence balances autonomy with connection. Couples who have individual hobbies, friends, and interests report more satisfaction than those who merge completely. Differentiation enables intimacy. This explains why codependent relationships feel suffocating and why breathing room strengthens rather than weakens bonds. You can't truly connect without first being separate selves. Arguments about money are the strongest predictor of divorce. Financial conflict predicts divorce more accurately than sex, in-laws, or chores. Money represents values, power, security, and control. Disagreement about spending reflects deeper incompatibility. This explains why financial counseling matters in relationships and why financial infidelity damages trust severely. Money isn't just money. It's everything money represents to each person. Relationships require 5 hours weekly of quality time to maintain emotional connection. The magic 5 hours includes daily check-ins, weekly dates, and regular meaningful conversation. Below 5 hours, emotional distance increases. Connection requires consistent time investment. This explains why busy couples drift apart and why scheduling connection time works. Love isn't just feeling. It's attention consistently allocated to another person's inner world. People who marry after age 25 have significantly lower divorce rates. Brain development completes around 25. Marriages before full prefrontal cortex development show higher failure rates. You're literally choosing a life partner with an incomplete brain before 25. This explains generational shift toward later marriage and why young marriages struggle. The person who marries at 22 is neurologically different from their 32-year-old self. Apologies without changed behavior are manipulation, not remorse. Repeated apologies with no behavior, modification signal, lack of genuine remorse. Words without action are control tactics to avoid consequences. True apology includes repair and different future behavior. This explains why "I'm sorry" stops working over time and why some people feel manipulated by constant apologies. Language without change is performance, not transformation. Secure attachment allows both intimacy and independence without anxiety. Securely attached people can be close without losing self and separate without losing connection. They trust that absence isn't abandonment and closeness isn't engulfment. Security enables flexibility. This explains why some people navigate relationships easily while others struggle constantly. Early attachment patterns create templates for all future relationships. Security in childhood becomes security in adult love. Relationships don't fail from lack of love, they fail from lack of skill. Most relationships end not because feelings die, but because conflict management, communication, and emotional regulation skills were insufficient. Love isn't enough. Skill matters more. This explains why passionate relationships can fail while less passionate ones endure. Intensity doesn't predict longevity. Competence does. You can love deeply and still destroy each other through poor relationship skills. Physical attraction fades, but emotional attraction can deepen infinitely. Initial physical chemistry declines over 2 to 3 years as dopamine normalizes. Emotional connection, built through shared experience and deep knowing, can strengthen continuously. Beauty fades, understanding deepens. This explains why long-term couples often say they love their partner more now, despite physical aging. Attraction shifts from surface to substance. The body changes. The bonds strengthen. Most affairs happen not because of attraction elsewhere, but disconnection at home. Infidelity typically results from unmet emotional needs, not superior alternative partners. The affair is symptom of home relationship breakdown, not cause. Distance creates vulnerability to outside connection. This explains why attractive, faithful partners get cheated on and why affair partners often aren't objectively better. The cheating isn't about you, it's about the emotional void that someone else happened to fill. Conflict avoidance damages relationships as much as constant conflict. Stonewalling and conflict avoidance predict divorce as strongly as excessive fighting. Both patterns prevent resolution and create distance. Healthy relationships require navigating conflict, not avoiding or drowning in it. This explains why peaceful relationships sometimes end suddenly, and why learning to fight constructively matters. Silence isn't peace, it's suppression. Real peace requires working through conflict, not pretending it doesn't exist. You don't fall in love. You grow in love slowly through consistent, positive interactions. Romantic love develops through repeated proximity, disclosure, responsiveness, and positive associations over time. Falling implies accident, growing implies cultivation. Love is garden, not landslide. This explains why friendships often become romance and why instant attraction often fades quickly. Sustainable love is built through thousands of small moments, not one lightning strike. Pet names and private language predict relationship longevity. Couples who develop unique vocabulary, inside jokes, and special nicknames report higher satisfaction and lower divorce rates. Private language creates emotional intimacy and relationship identity separate from outside world. This explains why pet names matter and why couples laugh at jokes nobody else finds funny. You're not just talking, you're speaking a language only you two understand, reinforcing that you're a team. Expressing gratitude daily increases relationship satisfaction by 35%. Regular appreciation activates reward centers, strengthens positive associations, and creates upward spiral of kindness. Gratitude changes brain chemistry for both giver and receiver. Acknowledgement becomes relationship fertilizer. This explains why thank you matters in long relationships and why appreciation exercises work in therapy. Attention to positive aspects multiplies those aspects. What you notice grows. Touch releases 20 times more oxytocin than words alone. Physical contact produces far more bonding hormone than verbal affection. A hug communicates safety more effectively than I love you. The body speaks louder than words to the nervous system. This explains why make-up sex works and why long-distance relationships struggle despite great communication. Words connect minds. Touch connects nervous systems. Both are needed, but touch is primary. Relationships improve mental health as much as therapy in secure attachments. Healthy romantic relationships provide regulation, validation, and security that significantly improves anxiety, depression, and stress. The right relationship is therapeutic. The wrong one is traumatic. This explains why relationship quality predicts mental health and why toxic relationships worsen symptoms. Your partner either helps regulate your nervous system or dysregulates it. There's no neutral. First impressions in romantic context form in 3 seconds and rarely change. Initial romantic assessment happens in 3 seconds based on appearance, body language, and voice. This snap judgment becomes filter for all future information. The first 3 seconds are everything. This explains why first dates matter so intensely and why recovering from bad first impression is nearly impossible. That 3-second window creates lasting lens that's almost impossible to remove. People who feel loved unconditionally are more motivated to improve themselves. Paradoxically, accepting someone fully makes them more likely to grow. Criticism creates defensiveness. Acceptance creates safety for vulnerability and change. Love enables transformation. Criticism prevents. This explains why nagging backfires and why accepting partners inspire more growth than critical ones. You can't shame someone into becoming better. You can only love them into feeling safe enough to try. Relationship satisfaction predicts lifespan more than exercise or diet. Quality of romantic relationship is stronger mortality predictor than fitness or nutrition. Toxic relationships accelerate aging and disease. Healthy relationships extend life and improve health outcomes. This explains why heartbreak feels physically painful and why widowed spouses often die shortly after. Your relationship isn't just emotional, it's biological. Your partner's presence or absence changes your physiology. The silent treatment activates the same brain regions as physical pain. Being ignored by a romantic partner lights up anterior cingulate cortex and insula, the pain processing centers. Social pain is real pain to the brain. Stonewalling hurts like hitting. This explains why silent treatment is a form of abuse and why it feels unbearable. Your brain doesn't distinguish between physical and social injury. Both register as genuine damage requiring response. Laughter during conflict decreases cortisol and increases resolution likelihood. Humor during arguments reduces stress hormones and signals safety to both parties. You can't laugh and stay activated simultaneously. Laughter breaks the tension that prevents resolution. This explains why couples who can joke during fights last longer and why all serious conflict becomes destructive. Humor isn't avoiding the issue. It's regulating the nervous system enough to actually address it. Secure people choose secure partners. Anxious and avoidant attract each other. Attachment style matching shows secure individuals typically pair with other secure people. Anxious attachment is drawn to avoidant and vice versa, creating push-pull dynamic. Like attracts like in health, opposites attract in dysfunction. This explains relationship patterns and why some people have easy relationships while others have dramatic ones. Your attachment style doesn't just affect how you relate, it affects who you're attracted to. Relationships that survive infidelity often become stronger than before. Couples who work through affairs report deeper intimacy, better communication, and greater appreciation than pre-affair. The crisis forced addressing underlying issues. Surviving together creates profound bond. This explains why some couples say affairs saved their marriage. Not the affair itself, but the work afterward. The breakdown forced breakthrough. Pain became portal to deeper connection. Physical proximity is stronger relationship predictor than compatibility. You're more likely to date someone who lives nearby than someone perfect who lives far away. Proximity creates repeated exposure, which creates familiarity, which creates attraction. Distance kills more relationships than incompatibility. This explains why workplace romance is common and why long-distance relationships fail at 80% rates. Physical presence matters more than perfect match. Being there beats being perfect. People mirror their partner's sleep schedule and eating patterns unconsciously. Couples synchronize circadian rhythms, meal times, and consumption habits without awareness. You adopt their patterns through proximity. Their schedule becomes your schedule. Habits are contagious between partners. This explains why partners gain weight together and why sleep quality improves or deteriorates based on partner. You're not just sharing space, you're syncing biological rhythms. Their body influences yours. Breakups activate the same withdrawal symptoms as quitting drugs. Loss of romantic partner triggers genuine withdrawal in reward centers, creating depression, anxiety, obsessive thoughts, and physical pain. You're not being dramatic, you're experiencing neurochemical withdrawal from person as drug. This explains why breakups hurt physically and why no contact helps. You need to detox from their presence like any addiction. The pain isn't weakness, it's biology processing loss of primary attachment figure. Couples who go to bed angry don't necessarily harm their relationship if they repair the next day. The never go to bed angry rule is less important than next day repair. Sleep sometimes provides necessary cooling off period. Morning repair after nighttime conflict is acceptable relationship pattern. This explains why sometimes sleeping on it helps and why forcing late-night resolution when exhausted backfires. Repair timing matters less than repair happening. Tomorrow works if tonight doesn't. Partners unconsciously synchronize heartbeats and breathing when in close physical contact. Physiological synchrony occurs between romantic partners in proximity. Heartbeats align, breathing synchronizes, brain waves coordinate. You're not two separate systems. You're one interconnected nervous system in two bodies. This explains why being near your partner feels calming and why their absence feels destabilizing. Your body regulates through their body. Separation is biological disruption, not just emotional. Relationships require approximately 200 hours to move from acquaintance to casual friend. Friendship timeline shows 50 hours creates casual friendship, 90 hours creates friend, 200 hours creates close friend. Relationships need time, investment. No shortcuts exist. Connection is hourly accumulation. This explains why friendship can't be forced and why some relationships deepen while others plateau. You haven't allocated enough hours. The feeling follows the time, not the reverse. People who can be bored together have more successful long-term relationships. Comfort with mutual silence and mundane activities predicts relationship success. You don't need constant entertainment. You can just exist together without performance or stimulation. Boredom together is intimacy indicator. This explains why exciting relationships often fail and quiet ones endure. Sustainability isn't excitement. It's comfort in ordinary moments. The ability to do nothing together means everything. Attachment wounds from childhood can heal through secure adult relationships. Earned secure attachment develops through consistent, responsive partnership. The right relationship can rewire anxious or avoidant patterns developed in childhood. Love can correct what early caregiving damaged. This explains why some people's relationships improve their mental health dramatically. They're not just dating someone. They're experiencing corrective emotional experience that rewrites attachment template. Partners who share household responsibilities equally report 40% higher sexual satisfaction. Equal division of domestic labor predicts sexual frequency and satisfaction. Resentment from inequity kills desire. Partnership in chores creates partnership in bed. Fairness is foreplay. This explains why traditional gender roles correlate with lower sexual satisfaction and why equitable relationships maintain desire longer. You can't feel attracted to someone you resent for dumping chores on you. Long-distance relationships fail primarily from lack of future plan, not distance itself. Distance kills relationships when there's no end date. Indefinite separation creates hopelessness. A timeline for reunion makes distance bearable. It's not the miles, it's the lack of eventual proximity. This explains why military couples often succeed and why open-ended long-distance fails. Hope requires specific future. Vague someday isn't enough. The distance needs expiration date. Criticism should be specific and behavioral. Character attacks predict relationship failure. Complaining about action is healthy. Attacking personality is toxic. You left dishes out is constructive. You're lazy is destructive. Behavior can change. Identity feels fixed. The difference determines success. This explains why some conflicts resolve while others escalate, and why certain criticism styles predict divorce. You're not addressing the problem, you're attacking their personhood. That creates defensiveness, not change. Relationships need three things equally: passion, intimacy, and commitment. Sternberg's triangle shows complete love requires all three. Passion without intimacy is infatuation. Intimacy without passion is friendship. Commitment without both is empty relationship. Balance is necessary. This explains why some relationships feel incomplete and why all three components need active cultivation. You can't coast on one dimension. All three require ongoing investment. People cheat more when they feel underappreciated than when sexually unsatisfied. Affairs typically result from feeling undervalued, invisible, or taken for granted rather than sexual dissatisfaction. Emotional neglect creates vulnerability to outside attention. Appreciation protects against infidelity better than attraction. This explains why good-looking partners get cheated on and why affair partners aren't always more attractive. The affair isn't about sex, it's about feeling seen, valued, and important to someone. Couples who pray or meditate together report deeper emotional bonds. Shared spiritual practice creates vulnerability, synchronized activity, and transcendent shared experience. Religion isn't required. Joint stillness and intention strengthen connection. Collective quiet builds intimacy. This explains interfaith relationship challenges and why spiritual compatibility matters. You're not just sharing beliefs, you're sharing practice that synchronizes your nervous systems and creates shared meaning. The tone of first 3 minutes of conflict predicts the outcome. How you start the fight determines how you end it. Harsh startup predicts harsh ending. Soft startup enables resolution. The first words set the entire trajectory. Begin badly, end badly. This explains why some conflicts escalate immediately while others resolve easily. It's not the issue, it's how you raised it. The complaint delivery system matters more than complaint content. Partners who know each other's stress signals can prevent 90% of escalations. Recognizing when your partner is overwhelmed allows preventive de-escalation. Most fights start when one person is already activated by external stress. Knowing their pre-escalation signs prevents conflict. This explains why understanding beats agreement and why emotional attunement predicts satisfaction. You don't need to know why they're stressed. You need to know that they are and respond accordingly. Relationships survive conflict better when both partners believe the other has good intentions. Benefit of doubt protects relationships. Assuming malice creates attack-defense cycles. Assuming positive intent allows for mistakes. Same behavior interpreted as either attack or error determines outcome. This explains why some couples fight productively while others destroy trust, and why assuming good faith matters. You see what you expect. Expect attack, see attack. Expect misunderstanding, see misunderstanding. Touch deprivation in relationships creates same symptoms as clinical depression. Lack of physical affection from partner triggers low mood, anxiety, insomnia, and isolation feelings. Your body needs their touch to regulate. Absence of contact is biological stressor creating psychological symptom. This explains why dead bedrooms damage mental health and why some people feel desperately lonely despite having a partner. The partner is there physically but absent through lack of touch. Proximity without contact creates unique pain. People who feel securely loved take more career and creative risks. Secure base provided by a romantic relationship enables exploration. Knowing someone's there if you fail creates courage to try. Relationship security predicts career success. Love becomes launchpad for achievement. This explains why some people flourish after finding right partner and why insecure relationships create stagnation. Your ability to risk in world depends partly on having safe harbor at home. Couples who remember their relationship history positively stay together longer. How you narrate your past predicts your future. Couples who remember meeting fondly and recall positive shared memories have better outcomes. Memory revision toward positive predicts relationship longevity. This explains why therapy uses positive history reconstruction and why reminiscing strengthens bonds. You're not just remembering together. You're creating shared story that defines who you are as couple. Most relationship problems are perpetual and unsolvable. 69% of relationship conflict is perpetual problem without resolution. These issues require acceptance and dialogue, not solutions. You'll never fully resolve them. Management and compromise are only options. This explains why some couples fight about same things for decades. You're not failing. The problem is inherently unsolvable based on fundamental difference. Success is learning to live with it, not fixing it. Physical affection needs to be initiated by both partners to maintain satisfaction. Relationship satisfaction requires balanced initiation of touch and intimacy. If one partner always initiates, they feel needy, the other feels pressured. Balance signals mutual desire. This explains why unbalanced initiation creates resentment and why both partners need to pursue. You can't just respond to advances. You need to make them. Desire needs mutual expression. Gratitude expressed weekly improves relationship satisfaction more than daily grand gestures. Consistent small appreciations outperform occasional big ones. Your brain adapts to grand gestures but continues responding to regular small acknowledgements. Frequency beats intensity for lasting impact. This explains why expensive gifts feel empty without daily kindness, and why regular thank yous matter more than big occasions. You're building neural patterns through repetition, not single events. Breakup pain literally registers as physical injury in the brain. fMRI studies show heartbreak activates same neural circuits as broken bones. Social pain is physical pain neurologically. You're not metaphorically hurt. Your brain is processing genuine injury. This explains why breakups hurt so much and why physical self-care during heartbreak matters. Your brain needs healing time like any injury. The wound is real, even without visible damage. Couples who maintain curiosity about each other report highest satisfaction decades in. Treating long-term partner as someone still worth discovering predicts sustained happiness. Assuming you fully know them creates boredom. Maintaining beginner's mind about partner sustains interest. This explains why some couples stay fascinated for 50 years while others grow bored in 5. You haven't stopped being interesting. They stop being curious. Interest follows attention. Slow, gentle touches activate different neural pathways than quick ones. C-tactile afferents respond specifically to slow, gentle stroking, creating emotional bonding distinct from sexual touch. Slow caresses trigger attachment. Fast touches trigger arousal. Different speeds serve different purposes. This explains why slow hand-holding feels intimate while quick touches feel dismissive, and why cuddling meets different needs than sex. Your touch communicates what words can't through pressure and speed. Arguments repair faster when both partners take responsibility for their part. Mutual accountability speeds resolution. When both own their contribution, defensiveness drops. Taking turns being right creates stalemate. Taking responsibility simultaneously creates movement. This explains why you're both right and both wrong works, and why insisting on being victim prevents resolution. Drop the scorecard. You both contributed. You both repair. Partners who maintain friendships outside the relationship report higher satisfaction. Individual social support networks prevent emotional suffocation and reduce pressure on partner to meet all needs. You can't be everything to each other. Outside friendships protect the relationship. This explains why isolation damages relationships and why encouraging partners' friendships strengthens rather than threatens bond. They come back from friends renewed, not replaced. Touch synchronizes breathing and heart rate, creating physical and emotional calm. Interpersonal synchrony through touch regulates both nervous systems simultaneously. Your partner's touch doesn't just comfort psychologically. It physically coordinates your biology. You breathe together, calm together. This explains why holding hands during stress helps and why presence feels insufficient without touch. The comfort isn't symbolic. It's cardiovascular and respiratory synchronization creating actual calm. Couples who maintain rituals, even tiny ones, report stronger bonds. Morning coffee together, goodnight kisses, Sunday walks, small repeated shared activities create relationship identity and predictability. Rituals become safety anchors. The familiarity creates security. This explains why disrupting routines feels destabilizing and why establishing patterns strengthens new relationships. You're not just spending time, you're creating structure that defines who you are together. Forgiveness benefits the forgiver more than the forgiven. Letting go of resentment improves your health, not theirs. Holding grudges raises your cortisol, disrupts your sleep, damages your body. Forgiveness is a selfish act disguised as generous one. This explains why forgiveness isn't about excusing harm, but releasing your own suffering. You're not doing it for them, you're doing it to free yourself from carrying their actions in your body. Your attachment style changes based on partners' attachment style over time. Secure partners gradually make anxious partners more secure. Avoidant partners make secure partners more anxious. Attachment isn't fixed. It's relational dance that shifts based on who you're dancing with. This explains why people say you bring out the worst in me and why partner selection matters beyond attraction. You become a different person in different relationships. They shape your attachment in real time. Relationship satisfaction drops after having first child and doesn't fully recover for 2 decades. Parenthood significantly decreases marital satisfaction that slowly recovers once children leave home. Kids don't strengthen marriage, they stress it. The bond survives despite children, not because of them. This explains empty nest marriages and why child-free couples often report higher satisfaction. Children are meaning, not happiness. The payoff comes later, not during active parenting years. People stay in relationships that remind them of childhood patterns, even painful ones. Familiar feels safe even when it's harmful. You recreate childhood relational dynamics unconsciously. The toxic pattern feels like home. Breaking the pattern requires recognizing it first. This explains why people repeat relationship failures and why awareness of patterns is crucial. You're not choosing poorly. Your attachment system is choosing familiar, regardless of whether familiar is healthy. Stonewalling is most damaging conflict pattern, worse than criticism or contempt. Withdrawing and refusing to engage predicts divorce more strongly than yelling or name-calling. Silence is violence to relationships. The absence of response kills more bonds than presence of anger. This explains why talk to me, please feel desperate and why complete shutdown ends relationships. Engaging badly beats not engaging at all. Stonewalling communicates you don't matter enough to fight with. Physical attraction to partner increases when you're both facing challenges together. Shared adversity and teamwork increase desire. Conquering problems together activates reward systems and creates attraction. Partnership under pressure builds passion. Teamwork becomes turn on. This explains why couples who overcome hardship together often have stronger bonds, and why easy relationships sometimes lack spark. Difficult creates depth. Challenge creates chemistry through partnership. Partners who respect each other's alone time have more passionate reunions. Space creates longing. Missing each other requires separation. Constant togetherness dulls desire. Respecting autonomy maintains attraction. Absence makes heart grow fonder isn't cliché. It's biology. This explains why codependent relationships lose passion and why healthy distance maintains desire. You need separation to experience reunion. Can't miss someone who never leaves. Relationship satisfaction correlates more strongly with how partners talk about each other to others than to each other. How you describe your partner when they're not present reveals true feelings. Speaking positively about them to others predicts satisfaction better than direct communication. Third-party representation matters. This explains why you should care what partner says about you to friends, and why defending partner publicly strengthens bond. You become story they tell about you. Make sure it's good story. Most people know within 1 year whether a relationship will lead to marriage. Decision timeline shows people know within 12 months if partner is marriage material. Longer than that, without clarity, often indicates indecision becoming decision by default. You know faster than you admit. This explains why buy the cow situations and why timing matters after a year. Staying anyway means choosing ambiguity over clarity. The yes or no already formed. Everything after is delay. Relationships end more from accumulated small resentments than single large betrayals. Death by 1,000 cuts, not one stab. Unreturned texts, forgotten requests, small dismissals accumulate into relationship-ending resentment. Grand betrayals are rare. Death by minor neglect is common. This explains why relationships end suddenly with no obvious cause. There wasn't one big thing. There were 1,000 small things that finally exceeded capacity. The end was built slowly, then arrived quickly. Touch reduces cortisol more effectively than verbal reassurance. Words provide cognitive comfort. Touch provides physiological regulation. Everything will be okay helps thinking brain. Hugs help nervous system. Body-based comfort trumps word-based comfort. This explains why sometimes don't talk, just hold me is the request, and why you can say all the right things but still fail to provide comfort. They don't need words. They need nervous system regulation through touch. Couples in healthy relationships fight more, not less, than unhealthy ones. Frequency of conflict doesn't predict relationship quality. How you fight does. Healthy couples address issues immediately. Unhealthy couples avoid until explosion or shutdown. More fights can mean more health. This explains why we never fight isn't always a good sign, and why learning to fight well matters more than fighting less. Conflict is data. Healthy relationships process data quickly. Unhealthy ones let it accumulate. Saying I love you first doesn't determine relationship power dynamics. Who says it first doesn't establish dominance. The belief that it does creates unnecessary power struggles. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's courage. First declaration doesn't establish subordination. This explains why people wait to say it, and why game playing around timing is counterproductive. You're worried about power when you should be expressing feeling. The first to feel isn't the first to lose. Partners who can disagree without personalizing report highest intimacy. Keeping disagreement about issues rather than character enables both connection and difference. You can hate their opinion while loving them. The separation protects relationship. This explains why some couples stay close despite major differences and why others drift apart over minor ones. It's not what you disagree about. It's whether disagreement means rejection of person or just position. Physical synchrony between partners predicts relationship longevity. Couples who unconsciously coordinate movements, match pace while walking, and synchronize gestures report greater satisfaction and longer relationships. Physical harmony reflects emotional harmony. This explains why some couples look coordinated while walking together and why paying attention to physical synchrony matters. Bodies can't lie like words can. Physical coordination reveals emotional connection. Relationship boredom is misattributed, lack of individual growth. Bored with relationship often means bored with self. Blaming partner for your stagnation is convenient displacement. They didn't become boring. You stopped growing and blamed them for the void. This explains why affairs feel exciting initially and why new relationship eventually reaches same boredom. You carry the problem into new relationship. Different person, same you, same eventual boredom. Partners who show interest in each other's passions stay attracted longer. You don't have to share every interest. Just show curiosity. Asking about their passion and listening demonstrates value. Love changes brain structure permanently after extended attachment. Long-term relationships literally rewire neural pathways. The person becomes embedded in your brain structure. Even after separation, those pathways remain. You carry them in your neural architecture forever. This explains why first loves stay with you and why long relationships leave permanent imprints. They didn't just touch your heart, they restructured your brain. The relationship ends, but the neural changes persist. Partners who share housework equally have more frequent and satisfying intimate lives. Equitable domestic labor correlates with better physical intimacy. Resentment from unfair division kills desire. Partnership in daily life creates partnership in bedroom. Fairness is foundational to attraction. This explains why traditional roles often correlate with decreased intimacy and why modern equal partnerships report better intimate satisfaction. You can't feel attracted to someone you're resentful toward for dumping chores on you. Relationships require approximately 3 positive interactions for every negative one to feel balanced. The brain weights negative more heavily. 3 goods balance, 1 bad. Below this ratio, relationship feels predominantly negative despite more positive moments. Negativity has disproportionate impact. This explains why one fight can overshadow good week and why consistent small positives matter. You need 3 times the positive to balance the negative. The scale is weighted against happiness. People fall out of love gradually through accumulated small disappointments, not sudden betrayal. Love dies slowly through thousands of small letdowns, ignored needs, and minor disconnections. Grand betrayals are rare. Death by 1,000 paper cuts is common. The end arrives suddenly, but was built slowly. This explains seemingly sudden breakups with no obvious cause, and why attending to small moments matters. You didn't lose them in one moment, you lost them in 1,000 unnoticed moments over time. Physical proximity during sleep synchronizes breathing and heartbeat between partners. Sleeping beside someone coordinates respiratory and cardiac rhythms unconsciously. Your bodies synchronize while minds rest. 8 hours nightly of physical coordination creates powerful biological bond. This explains why sleeping apart feels destabilizing and why couples who sleep together feel more connected. Your bodies spend a third of life synchronizing. The coordination creates bond words can't. Relationships built on friendship last longer than those built on passion. Friendship provides foundation, passion alone can't. Passion fades to comfortable levels. Friendship deepens over time. Successful long relationships are best friendships with romantic component added. This explains why friendship-first relationships outlast intense attraction ones, and why marrying your best friend works. Passion gets you in. Friendship keeps you there. One launches, other sustains. People who can laugh at themselves together have more resilient relationships. Shared, self-deprecating humor signals security and lack of defensiveness. Taking yourself lightly while taking relationships seriously creates flexibility. Humor about own flaws builds intimacy through vulnerability. This explains why couples who mock themselves stay together and why inability to laugh at own mistakes predicts rigidity. You're secure enough to be imperfect together. That security is relationship strength. Touch during conversation increases information retention by 40%. Physical contact while talking improves memory of discussion content. The touch anchors information neurologically. You remember conversations better when touching during them. Connection aids retention. This explains why important talks benefit from hand-holding and why touch during difficult conversations helps. You're not just physically connecting, you're enhancing both people's ability to remember what's discussed. Partners who maintain separate finances report more conflict than those who combine resources. Money separation often indicates lack of full commitment or trust. Combined finances signal complete partnership. Separate checking creates mine versus yours mentality that extends beyond money. This explains why financial integration matters and why some couples struggle with money despite plenty. It's not amount, it's separation. Separate money signals, separate lives pretending to be merged. Expressing needs as desires rather than complaints increases likelihood of them being met. I would love if you works better than you never. Positive framing creates motivation. Complaint framing creates defensiveness. Same need, different presentation, opposite outcome. This explains why nagging fails and why reframing needs as wishes works. You're giving them gift opportunity instead of criticism. People resist demands. They respond to invitation. People stay attracted to partners who maintain independence and personal growth. Continuous self-development keeps you interesting. Stagnation breeds boredom. Partner who grows remains attractive. Partner who stops growing becomes familiar to point of invisible. This explains why some long-term couples maintain attraction while others don't, and why personal growth matters to relationship health. You're not just staying interesting for yourself, you're staying interesting for them. Relationships need both emotional intimacy and healthy boundaries to thrive. Closeness without boundaries creates enmeshment. Boundaries without closeness creates disconnection. Both are necessary. You need to be close and separate simultaneously. The balance is relationship sweet spot. This explains why codependent relationships suffocate and why completely independent relationships lack intimacy. You need both merger and individuation. All of one or other is dysfunction. Arguments about respect predict divorce more accurately than arguments about any other topic. Feeling respected matters more than being loved. Respect is foundation. Love without respect becomes toxic. Disrespect is relationship death sentence. You can recover from many things. Contempt isn't one. This explains why contempt is divorce predictor and why respect matters more than affection. Love fluctuates. Respect must remain constant. Lose respect, lose relationship, regardless of love remaining. Physical affection needs increase during times of stress for most people. Stress drives attachment seeking. When overwhelmed, most people need more physical closeness, not less. Touch regulates stressed nervous system. The need for contact increases when life is hard. This explains why stressed partners seek physical comfort and why providing touch during difficult times matters. They're not being needy, their nervous system is seeking regulation through your touch. People who've experienced trauma bond faster but often less securely. Trauma creates quick intensity through shared pain recognition. But intensity isn't security. Fast bonding from trauma often lacks secure foundation. Depth of wound doesn't equal depth of health. This explains why trauma bonds feel intense but unstable, and why healing separately before partnering creates healthier foundation. You bonded over wounds, not wholeness. That's shaky ground. Relationships require willingness to be influenced by your partner. Accepting partner's input and adjusting based on their needs shows respect. Refusing influence signals disrespect or superiority. Healthy relationships involve mutual influence. Both people shape each other. This explains why some partnerships feel collaborative while others feel one-sided, and why accepting influence predicts satisfaction. You're equals or you're not. Equals influence each other. Partners who remember relationship history positively have more satisfying present. How you narrate your past shapes your present experience. Couples who recall relationship fondly feel better about current state. Memory revision toward positive predicts positive future. This explains why reminiscing positively strengthens bonds and why rewriting history toward negative predicts breakup. Your story about relationship becomes your experience of relationship. Narrative shapes reality. Physical attraction increases after shared adrenaline-inducing experiences. Exciting or scary activities together increase attraction through misattribution of arousal. Elevated heart rate from activity feels like elevated heart rate from attraction. Adrenaline amplifies appeal. This explains why adventure dates work and why roller coasters are romantic settings. Your body is activated by activity, but mind attributes excitement to person beside you. Biology becomes chemistry. Most people know their partner's love language, but forget to speak it consistently. Knowing what they need and providing it are different. You understand they need words of affirmation. You just don't say them. Knowledge without action is useless. Implementation matters. This explains why people feel unloved despite partner knowing their needs, and why consistent delivery matters more than initial awareness. You knowing doesn't help them. You doing helps them. Couples who maintain weekly check-in conversations report fewer unresolved conflicts. Scheduled relationship talks prevent issue accumulation. Weekly state of union allows addressing small problems before they become big. Prevention through regular maintenance beats crisis management. This explains why structured check-ins work and why waiting for problems to become urgent creates bigger issues. You're catching issues early. Small course corrections prevent shipwrecks. Partners who can sit in comfortable silence have deeper intimacy than those who need constant conversation. Silence together, without awkwardness, indicates secure attachment. You don't need constant verbal connection to feel connected. Comfortable quiet is intimacy indicator. Presence is enough. This explains why secure couples can be quiet together, while anxious ones need constant talk, and why silence feels intimate, not empty. Words aren't required. The connection transcends conversation. Relationship satisfaction increases when partners share similar political and religious views. Core value alignment predicts longevity. Political and religious differences represent fundamental worldview gaps. Same direction in big picture matters more than same hobbies in details. This explains why opposites attract initially but struggle long term, and why discussing values before commitment matters. You're navigating life together. Incompatible compasses create constant conflict. People in happy relationships sleep better and have stronger immune systems. Secure attachment improves sleep quality and immune function through reduced cortisol and increased oxytocin. Your relationship literally affects your health. Happy partnerships are medicine, toxic ones are poison. This explains why relationship quality predicts physical health and why breakups make you sick. Your immune system responds to relationship stress. The body keeps score of emotional state. Touch from loved one reduces pain perception by up to 50%. Physical contact from attached figure literally alters pain processing in brain. Their touch is analgesic. The presence and contact of someone you love reduces suffering physically, not just emotionally. This explains why you want partner when hurt and why holding hands during medical procedures helps. Their touch changes your nervous system's pain response. Love is pain medication. Partners who apologize quickly repair relationship faster than those who delay. Time between hurt and apology is suffering duration. Fast apology reduces total pain. Delayed apology extends suffering and may create permanent damage. Speed of repair matters enormously. This explains why pride kills relationships and why quick apology protects bond. Every hour between hurt and repair is hour of unnecessary pain. Pride is expensive luxury relationships can't afford. Relationships where both partners feel they get more than they give are happiest. Both feeling they receive more than they contribute signals abundance. Both feeling they contribute more signals resentment. Happiest couples both feel they're getting the better deal. This explains generosity's importance and why keeping score damages relationships. Stop tracking fairness. Both give freely. Both receive gratefully. Abundance mindset creates abundance reality. People choose partners who reflect their self-image, not their ideal. You date your self-worth level, not your wish list. Low self-worth chooses poorly treating partners. High self-worth chooses well-treating partners. Your selection mirrors your self-perception. This explains why self-work improves relationship quality and why people repeat patterns. You're not unlucky. You're choosing at your self-worth level. Change self-perception. Change partner selection. Most relationship problems are communication problems in disguise. The presenting issue often isn't real issue. Poor communication makes everything harder. Good communication makes everything easier. Fixed communication, most problems reduce significantly. This explains why couples therapy focuses on communication and why learning to talk well matters. You don't have irreconcilable differences. You have unexpressed needs and poor translation between different communication styles. Partners who can disagree without personalizing maintain intimacy despite differences. Keeping disagreement about topic rather than person allows both connection and difference. You can hate their opinion while loving them. Opinion disagreement doesn't require relationship rejection. This explains why some couples maintain closeness despite differences and why personalizing disagreement destroys intimacy. It's not what you disagree about, it's whether disagreement means rejection. Relationships require approximately 5 hours weekly of quality focused time to maintain emotional connection. 5 hours of undivided attention prevents drift. Below this threshold, disconnection increases. Connection requires consistent time investment. You can't maintain intimacy on scraps of leftover attention. This explains why busy couples drift apart and why scheduling connection time works despite feeling unromantic. Love isn't just feeling. It's attention consistently allocated. Schedule it or lose it. People who maintain individual friendships within relationship report higher satisfaction than those who merge friend groups completely. Having your own friends provides perspective, support, and space from partner. Completely merged social life creates pressure and dependence. Individual friendships protect relationship by preventing suffocation. This explains why maintaining separate friends strengthens rather than threatens partnership, and why solo social time is healthy. You need perspective outside relationship. Friends provide that. Physical synchrony predicts relationship success more than verbal compatibility. How bodies coordinate matters more than what minds discuss. Couples who move in sync, match pace, mirror gestures unconsciously report higher satisfaction. Physical harmony predicts emotional harmony. This explains why some couples look coordinated and why body language matters more than conversation content. Bodies can't lie like words. Physical coordination reveals unconscious connection quality. Couples who maintain sexual intimacy through difficult periods recover faster than those who don't. Physical connection during hard times maintains bond that words alone can't. Sex creates oxytocin and physical closeness that buffers stress. Maintaining intimacy during stress protects relationship. This explains why sexless periods during stress-worsened situation and why prioritizing physical connection during difficulty helps. You need the bonding that only physical intimacy provides. People who can receive love struggle less in relationships than those who can give but not receive. Giving love is easier than receiving. Allowing yourself to be loved requires vulnerability. Inability to receive creates imbalance. You're blocking the flow by only giving, never receiving. This explains why some generous people have failed relationships and why learning to receive matters. Love is exchange. Stopping incoming flow prevents the circuit from completing. Relationships need mutual respect more than mutual attraction. Respect is foundation. Attraction is bonus. Attraction fades. Respect must remain. You can build on respect, can't build on attraction alone. Respect is load-bearing wall. Attraction is decoration. This explains why respectful relationships outlast passionate ones, and why contempt predicts divorce regardless of remaining attraction. Respect is non-negotiable. Without it, nothing else matters. Partners who share core values but different interests report highest satisfaction. Same direction, different paths. Shared values create alignment. Different interests create space and novelty. Too much sameness bores. Too much difference conflicts. Balance is 70% same values, 30% different interests. This explains why dating your clone feels stale and why complete opposites struggle. You need enough same to align, enough different to fascinate. Most people stay in relationships past expiration date due to fear of starting over. Sunk cost fallacy keeps people in dead relationships. Starting over feels harder than staying miserable. Comfort of familiar suffering beats terror of unknown potential happiness. This explains why people stay years too long and why leaving feels impossible until it's not. You're not staying because it works. You're staying because leaving scares you more than staying hurts. Physical touch needs vary by gender, less than by individual attachment style. Touch needs are attachment-based, not gender-based. Anxious people need more regardless of gender. Avoidant need less regardless of gender. Individual history matters more than biology. This explains why gender stereotypes about touch fail, and why knowing partner's attachment style predicts needs better than knowing their gender. Attachment determines touch needs, not chromosomes. Couples who can laugh during arguments de-escalate conflict 70% faster. Humor breaks physiological arousal pattern. You can't stay fully activated while laughing. Humor signals safety to nervous system. The laugh interrupts the escalation spiral. This explains why couples who can be funny during fights last longer, and why humorless conflict becomes destructive. Laughing doesn't avoid issue. It regulates nervous systems enough to address issue productively. People fall in love with who they think the person is, then fall out when reality doesn't match. Projection creates initial attraction. Reality kills it. You fell for imagination of them, not actual them. Disappointment is gap between fantasy and reality. This explains why early relationships feel magical and why disillusionment happens. You're not seeing clearly initially. Infatuation is fantasy. Love requires seeing clearly and choosing anyway. Relationships where both partners have similar conflict styles resolve issues easier. Mismatched conflict styles create meta-conflict about how to fight. If you both discuss or both need space, you're aligned. One pursuer, one distancer creates pattern worse than original issue. This explains why some couples get stuck in pursue-distance cycle, and why conflict style compatibility matters. You're not just fighting about issue, you're fighting about how to fight. Partners who maintain curiosity about each other's inner world stay emotionally intimate. Assuming you fully know them creates stagnation. Treating them as ongoing mystery maintains interest. People change. Curiosity about their evolution keeps connection alive. This explains why some couples stay fascinated for decades and why others grow bored quickly. You stopped asking questions. Curiosity died. Intimacy requires ongoing interest in their becoming. Most attraction forms through repeated exposure, not instant chemistry. Mere exposure effect shows familiarity breeds liking. The more you see someone, the more attractive they become. Love at first sight is rare. Love through proximity is common. This explains workplace romances and why friendships become romantic. You weren't attracted initially. Repeated contact created attraction. Proximity is underrated, relationship variable. People who apologize by changing behavior rather than just saying sorry build more trust. Words without changed actions are manipulation. I'm sorry means nothing if pattern continues. Apology is behavior change, not verbal performance. Actions apologize louder than words. This explains why repeated apologies without change destroy trust, and why behavior modification is real apology. You're not sorry if you keep doing it. Change proves remorse. Words alone don't. Couples who share meals together daily report 35% higher satisfaction. Eating together creates bonding through shared ritual and synchronized activity. Daily meals become relationship anchor. Consistent shared eating time strengthens connection through routine. This explains why dinner table conversation matters, and why families who eat together stay connected. You're not just eating, you're synchronizing, sharing space, creating daily touch points. Relationship satisfaction drops significantly when partners stop prioritizing each other. Becoming low priority kills relationships faster than conflict. Being taken for granted hurts more than active mistreatment. Feeling like option instead of priority is relationship death. This explains why successful people often have failed relationships and why priority matters more than grand gestures. You can be busy. You can't make them feel unimportant. People who've been hurt before create protective patterns that prevent future hurt, but also prevent deep connection. Walls that keep pain out also keep love out. Protecting yourself from hurt by not being vulnerable also protects you from intimacy. Safety and intimacy require some risk. This explains why some people can't fully connect and why healing past wounds matters for future relationships. Your protection is also your prison. Can't have security without some vulnerability. Couples who dream together about future have stronger present. Shared future vision creates current alignment. Dreaming together bonds. Without shared future picture, you're just coexisting. Future planning creates current meaning. This explains why couples need goals together and why losing shared vision predicts breakup. You're not building toward anything. That makes present feel pointless. Touch from partner during stress lowers cortisol more effectively than meditation. Their physical presence regulates your nervous system better than solo practices. You're designed to co-regulate. Their touch is more powerful stress reducer than techniques alone. This explains why you want partner when stressed and why their hug helps more than breathing exercises. Your nervous system calms faster through their touch than through any solo method. People choose partners at their emotional maturity level. You can't have a relationship more mature than you are. Your emotional development ceiling is relationship ceiling. Want better relationship? Become more emotionally mature person. This explains why relationships reflect your growth level and why self-work improves relationship quality. You're not finding wrong people. You're being wrong level person. Growth changes selection. Couples who maintain physical affection outside bedroom have better intimacy inside bedroom. Non-sexual touch throughout day creates safety that enables bedroom vulnerability. Random kisses and hand-holding build foundation for sexual intimacy. Bedroom connection requires living room connection. This explains why sexless relationships often lack daily affection and why casual touch matters. You're building intimacy currency through daily deposits. Bedroom withdrawals from account filled by daily affection. Relationships survive infidelity when underlying friendship is strong, fail when it's weak. Affair kills relationships lacking friendship foundation. Affair can be survived in strong friendship-based relationships. Friendship determines survival capacity. Betrayal alone doesn't determine outcome. This explains why some couples survive affairs while others don't, and why friendship-based matters more than passion intensity. Strong foundation can be repaired. Weak one crumbles under less. People who wait longer to have sex report higher relationship satisfaction. Delayed physical intimacy allows emotional foundation building. Early sex can shortcut emotional work. Waiting ensures compatibility beyond physical. Foundation before intensity predicts stability. This explains why fast physical relationships sometimes lack depth, and why emotional connection first creates better long-term outcomes. You built on something other than chemistry. That foundation holds better. Partners who maintain independent identities while building shared identity report highest satisfaction. Balance between I and we is crucial. All I creates disconnection. All we creates enmeshment. You need both individual and couple identity. The balance creates healthy interdependence. This explains why completely merged couples struggle and why maintaining self matters to relationship health. You can't truly connect without being separate selves first. Merger without identity is enmeshment. Most relationship dissatisfaction comes from unmet, unexpressed expectation. You expected something you never communicated. They didn't know. Now you're disappointed. Unexpressed expectations are premeditated resentments. Say what you need. Mind reading isn't real. This explains why people feel let down in relationships and why expressing expectations matters. You're upset about failure to meet needs you never voiced. That's not fair to either of you. Couples who can be bored together without needing constant stimulation have more stable relationships. Comfort with ordinary creates stability. Need for constant excitement creates instability. You can just exist together without entertainment. Bored together is intimacy indicator. This explains why exciting relationships often fail and quiet ones endure. Sustainable isn't thrilling, it's comfortable. Ability to be mundane together predicts lasting. People who feel securely loved take more healthy risks in other life areas. Secure base enables exploration. Knowing you have safe harbor allows sailing into unknown. Relationship security predicts career and creative risk-taking. Love becomes courage source. This explains why right partner helps you flourish and why insecure relationships create stagnation. Secure attachment is launch pad. Insecurity is anchor. Relationships require vulnerability, but vulnerability requires safety first. You can't be vulnerable with unsafe person. Safety precedes vulnerability. Vulnerability deepens safety. It's chicken and egg. Someone has to risk first. Usually, whoever's more secure. This explains why some people can't open up and why building safety before demanding vulnerability matters. You're asking for vulnerability without providing safety. That's backwards. Partners who share similar humor styles have higher satisfaction than those who don't. What you find funny reveals values and worldview. Mismatched humor creates disconnection. Shared sense of humor is deeper compatibility indicator than shared hobbies. This explains why couples who laugh together stay together and why humor compatibility matters. You're not just joking, you're revealing how you see world. Compatible humor means compatible worldview. Most people know within 1 year if relationship will succeed long term. Decision forms within 12 months. Everything after is delay or confirmation. By year 1. Staying longer without clarity is choosing ambiguity over action. This explains why people date for years despite knowing it's wrong and why sometimes you just know quickly. Internal knowing happens fast. External action can lag years behind. Couples who maintain date nights report 40% higher satisfaction. Regular dedicated time signals priority and maintains romance. Date night isn't luxury, it's necessity. Scheduled connection prevents drift through consistent attention allocation. This explains why busy couples drift and why scheduling romance works despite feeling unromantic. Structure supports spontaneity, schedule protects connection, that busy life threatened. People fall out of love when they stop doing things that create loving feelings. Love is partly feeling, mostly action. Do loving things, feel loving feelings. Stop doing, stop feeling. Love requires tending. Neglected love dies like neglected garden. This explains why love fades and why maintaining loving actions matters even when feelings dip. Feelings follow actions more than actions follow feelings. Act lovingly. Feel lovingly. Relationships where both partners feel emotionally safe have best sexual intimacy. Emotional safety enables sexual vulnerability. You can't fully open sexually without emotional security. Bedroom connection requires living room safety. Sex requires trust. This explains why abusive relationships have bad sexual dynamics and why emotional work improves physical intimacy. Bedroom problems usually start outside bedroom. Fix emotional safety, improve physical intimacy. Partners who remember each other's stories and reference them show deep attentiveness. Recalling details of their stories and bringing them up later signals importance. You paid attention. You stored information. You care enough to remember and reference. This explains why remembering matters and why referencing past conversations strengthens bond. You're proving ongoing attention to their life. Memory becomes love language. Most people underestimate how much their mood affects their relationship perception. Bad mood makes relationships seem bad. Good mood makes relationships seem good. Your emotional state colors relationship assessment. You're not evaluating relationship. You are evaluating yourself through relationship lens. This explains why perceptions of relationship fluctuate wildly and why checking perspective when in bad mood helps. Your relationship didn't change, your mood did. That changes how you see everything. Couples who maintain shared rituals report stronger bonds than those without rituals. Repeated shared activities create relationship identity. Morning coffee, goodnight kisses, Sunday walks become anchors. Rituals provide predictability that creates security. Structure builds safety. This explains why disrupting routines feels destabilizing and why establishing patterns strengthens bonds. You're creating reliable structure. Predictability breeds security. Rituals become relationship skeleton. People choose partners who will enable them to continue familiar patterns, healthy or not. You unconsciously select partners who allow continuing your patterns. Healthy people choose growth-enabling partners. Unhealthy people choose dysfunction-enabling partners. Your selection enables your patterns. This explains pattern repetition and why breaking cycles requires awareness. You're not unlucky. You're choosing partners who let you stay sane. Different outcome requires different selection. Relationships need both passion and peace to thrive long term. All passion burns out. All peace gets boring. You need both intensity and calm, excitement and comfort. Balance between fire and stillness creates sustainable relationship. This explains why purely passionate relationships flame out and why purely comfortable ones stagnate. You need both. One or other alone is incomplete. Partners who can apologize without defensiveness repair relationship damage faster. Clean apology without justification enables healing. Defensive apology extends conflict. Take responsibility without excuse. Own your part fully. Clean ownership enables clean repair. This explains why some apologies work and others don't, and why defensiveness prevents healing. You're apologizing and defending simultaneously. That's not apology. That's justification with sorry attached. Most relationship endings are decided emotionally long before they're announced verbally. The decision happens internally first, sometimes months or years before verbal declaration. When they tell you they've already left emotionally, the announcement is formality confirming past decision. This explains seemingly sudden breakups and why sometimes you feel it before they say it. The energy shifted first, words came later. You felt the emotional departure before verbal one. Couples who maintain equal power dynamics have lower conflict and higher satisfaction. Power imbalance creates resentment and instability. Equal voice, equal decision-making, equal respect creates harmony. Hierarchy might work professionally. In relationships, equality is necessary. This explains why traditional power structures correlate with lower satisfaction and why egalitarian relationships report better outcomes. Dominant submission might excite initially. Equality sustains. People who can accept influence from partner have more successful relationships. Allowing partner to affect your choices and opinions shows respect. Refusing influence signals superiority or contempt. Mutual influence is healthy. Unilateral decision-making is dysfunction. This explains why flexibility predicts satisfaction and why rigidity predicts failure. You're teammates or you're not. Teammates influence each other. Dictators don't allow influence. Relationships require consistent effort, not just initial effort. The work that wins someone must continue to keep them. Effort after commitment matters more than effort before. Can't stop trying once you've caught them. Maintenance requires same energy as acquisition. This explains why relationships deteriorate after early stage and why continuous effort matters. You're not done when you get them. You're just starting different phase requiring same commitment. Partners who maintain physical touch during sleep have stronger emotional bonds. Sleeping while touching, whether hand-holding or cuddling, creates 8 hours of unconscious bonding nightly. The physical connection during vulnerable sleep state deepens attachment. Your bodies bond while minds rest. This explains why some couples can't sleep without touching and why sleep proximity matters beyond convenience. Unconscious contact creates powerful bond. You're connecting without trying. Most people stay in relationships for fear of loneliness rather than presence of love. Many relationships persist not because they work, but because being alone seems worse. You're choosing known dissatisfaction over unknown possibility. Fear keeps you, not fulfillment. This explains why people endure mediocre relationships and why leaving feels impossible. You're not staying because it's good. You're staying because alone seems scarier than unhappy together. Couples who can fight productively grow closer through conflict. Well-managed conflict creates intimacy by proving you can navigate difficulty together. Successfully weathering storm deepens trust. You survived challenge together. That creates confidence in relationship. This explains why conflict-free relationships sometimes lack depth and why learning to fight well matters. You haven't been tested. Tests create trust through survival. People who share their partner's stress instead of dismissing it strengthen their bond. Taking their concerns seriously, even when you think they're overreacting, shows respect. Their stress is real to them. Validation matters more than agreement. Acknowledgement creates connection. This explains why minimizing partner's stress damages relationship and why validating even when you don't understand helps. It's real to them. That's enough. Your job is witness, not judge. Relationships end when one person's growth outpaces the other's significantly. If one person evolves while other stagnates, gap becomes unbridgeable. You grow apart by growing unequally. Parallel growth maintains connection. Divergent growth creates distance. This explains why some relationships don't survive major life changes and why growing together matters. You became different people at different rates. The gap became too wide to bridge. Partners who maintain weekly meaningful conversations have 30% lower divorce rates. Regular deep discussion prevents drift. Weekly check-ins maintain emotional intimacy. Surface daily chat isn't enough. Need regular depth. Scheduled depth conversation protects connection. This explains why some couples stay close despite busy lives and why structured relationship talks work. You're preventing issue accumulation through regular, meaningful contact. Maintenance prevents crisis. Most people don't leave bad relationships until pain of staying exceeds fear of leaving. You endure misery until it outweighs terror of unknown. The decision point is when suffering present becomes worse than imagined suffering future. Until then, you stay. This explains why people wait so long to leave and why sometimes sudden departure follows long tolerance. Pain finally exceeded fear. The balance tipped. That's when leaving becomes possible. Couples who express affection publicly report higher private satisfaction. Public displays of affection signal pride in relationship. You're not hiding partnership. You're proud to be together. Public claiming creates private security. This explains why avoiding public affection sometimes signals issues, and why appropriate public affection strengthens bond. You're announcing to world, this is mine, I'm theirs, we're together. Declaration matters. People who maintain individual goals alongside shared goals have healthiest relationships. All shared creates enmeshment. All individual creates separation. Balance between we goals and me goals creates interdependence. Both need space for individual and joint aspirations. This explains why completely merged couples struggle and why maintaining self within partnership matters. You need both. Individual keeps you interesting. Shared keeps you connected. Relationships survive stress when partners turn toward each other instead of away. Under pressure, you either connect or disconnect. Turning toward creates resilience. Turning away creates distance. How you handle stress together determines relationship fate. This explains why some couples emerge stronger from hardship and others crack. Not the stress itself, but response to it. Together facing couples survive, away turning couples don't. Partners who laugh at same things are more compatible than those who share hobbies. What you find funny reveals worldview. Shared humor is deeper compatibility than shared activities. You can have different hobbies, can't have fundamentally different sense of what's funny without friction. This explains why humor compatibility predicts satisfaction and why couples who find same things funny stay together. Shared laughter means shared perspective. That's deeper than shared stamp collection. Most relationship problems are solvable, but require willingness to compromise from both partners. 69% of conflicts have solutions if both compromise. Problems persist because one or both won't budge. Solutions exist. Stubbornness prevents accessing them. This explains why some couples stay stuck and why flexibility predicts satisfaction. Your problem isn't unsolvable. Your unwillingness to compromise makes it so. The issue isn't the issue. Rigidity is. People who feel appreciated stay in relationships longer than those who don't, regardless of other factors. Feeling valued matters more than financial security, attraction, or compatibility. Appreciation is relationship oxygen. Without it, relationship suffocates regardless of what else exists. This explains why people leave seemingly good relationships and why consistent appreciation matters. Everything else can be right. Without feeling valued, nothing else is enough. Couples who maintain curiosity about each other's evolving selves stay connected through change. People change constantly. Treating partner as known entity creates disconnection. Staying curious about their becoming maintains interest. They're not static. Neither are you. Curiosity bridges evolution. This explains why some couples grow together and others apart. You stop being curious, assumed you knew them completely. That assumption killed exploration that maintains connection. Your final fact. The deepest love is choosing someone daily, not just feeling for them occasionally. Love is decision repeated. You choose them today. Tomorrow, choose again. Every day is new choice. Feeling fluctuates. Choosing endures. Commitment is 1,000 daily decisions to continue loving. This is how love lasts through decades, through change, through difficulty. Not through consistent feeling, but through consistent choosing. Choose love when it's easy. Choose love when it's hard. Choose love when you don't feel it. The choosing is the love. Sleep peacefully now, knowing that lasting love is built through daily choice to stay, to try, to love again tomorrow. Rest well.